and cause current and former players, coaches, fans, and partners of the NBA to question their very association with the league. To them, and pioneers of the game like Earl Lloyd, Chuck Cooper, Sweetwater Clifton, the great Bill Russell, and particularly Magic Johnson, accordingly, effective immediately, I am banning Mr. Sterling.
Adam Silver just dropped a nuclear bomb on the WNBA, and the fallout is even messier than anyone could have predicted. Brittney Griner, who's one of the most dominant, controversial, and polarizing figures in women's basketball, has been completely scrubbed from the WNBA. And the reason is more shocking than you could ever imagine. Brittney Griner has finally been proven as a biological male. You heard that right? And as soon as the receipts came out, the NBA had no choice but to pull the plug on her.
It makes absolutely no sense for you to, on one hand, say you're standing up for women's rights and women's pay, and then on the other hand saying it's criminal that a biological man plays in women's sports. As you are competing in women's sports and not the NBA.
This abrupt ejection has confirmed a long-standing rumor that spread like wildfire online before the league apparently decided to act on it, with the speed of a panicked executive trying to put out a PR fire with gasoline. And the most shocking thing, Stephen A. Smith's subtle acknowledgement on live TV.
So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out.
But it is also about Brittney Griner's furious response, because she's not going quietly. So let's talk about why Brittney was forced to leave her seat as a dominant WNBA force, and how her real identity as a man became unmasked in front of the whole world.
See, Brittney Griner is a man. Well, come on now, this is another conspiracy situation, but you see this picture, no shirt. It's apparently an old photo.
Basketball, I have to be able to play, and to play at this level, you can't not go to the weight room.
If you have been following the women's game, or even as a casual observer, you might have heard the name of Brittney Griner, who has been touted as the most dominant WNBA player on the court. Griner didn't just look different, she sounded different and moved differently. And when she spoke, that voice, gruff, unmistakably masculine, left fans exchanging glances.
And I'm just ready to feed off her and just give all I can to the Phoenix Mercury.
A round of applause for my wife, honestly. She had the hardest job.
But the WNBA, they acted like they didn't hear a thing. The whispers were always there, quiet at first, then louder until they became impossible to ignore. For years, fans, analysts, and even fellow players have side-eyed Brittney Griner's place in the WNBA, questioning whether she was truly female. Her towering 6'9" frame, her broad shoulders, her unmistakably deep voice. These weren't just standout traits. They were red flags that the league refused to address.
True gender. In fact, Brittney Griner's 6'9" male-like physique gives her numerous unfair advantages in the WNBA. It has been reported that Griner was assigned female at birth but identifies as a male.
Griner was suspected of being more than your average WNBA player. She had all the traits of a male player, and people's suspicions came true when an online post about her went viral. It all began with a Reddit post, a grainy, questionable screenshot of what were supposedly Griner's medical records floating around the darker corners of the internet. No verification, no official statement, just a digital whisper that turned into a roar.
You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe.
Bro, girl, your voice is super deep.
The leaked screenshot was grainy and blurred, just a few lines of text on what appeared to be a medical form, but it was enough to send the conspiracy theorists into a full-blown chaos. The document, leaked on an obscure forum before exploding across social media, listed one earth-shattering detail under Griner's personal information: sex male. At first, fans dismissed it as a fake, a troll job, another internet hoax. Little did anyone know that this would detonate the biggest scandal in WNBA history.
I saw this, but I didn't know if it was a meme, and because it looked like a dude.
She's definitely on test. How is that legal?
Yeah, she's definitely
not legal. Excuse me. How is that allowed in professional sports?
Yeah. Women's rights.
An anonymous source, allegedly a former WNBA staffer, came forward on a burner Twitter account. Everyone knew. The league knew. They just didn't care until now. But this leaked document only confirmed what everybody had been thinking about Brittney Griner. It wasn't the best-kept secret around. Many analysts also pointed out that the missing pieces of this puzzle were all out there in public view, like that clip of Griner where she looked shirtless. But the interesting thing, analysts pointed out that the league didn't flag it for nudity, fueling speculation that the WNBA knew something the public didn't.
Got my hand right here. Got my hand right here.
This shirtless clip of that sent shockwaves through the WNBA wasn't just embarrassing, it was downright damning. When this footage of Griner playing topless hit the internet, the league's carefully constructed facade came crashing down. Let's cut the nonsense here. There wasn't a single feminine curve in sight. No breasts, no surgery scars, just the undeniable biologically male physique the WNBA has been gaslighting fans about for years.
Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man. One of the videos that give us cause to say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform.
The most telling part? It wasn't flagged as nudity. Not because they missed it, but because they knew. They've always known. When Griner shows off what can only be described as a man's bare chest, the content moderators develop selective blindness. The hypocrisy would be laughable if it weren't so blatantly ironic. Griner was out there shirtless. Still, it's perfectly fine because she's not a woman, but a man.
So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a female chest, we have to take this down. Oftentimes, if breast cancer runs in a family, women will preemptively get like double mastectomies. And there are some great surgeons out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't see any scars.
This wasn't some grainy, questionable leak either. This was crystal clear HD footage that left zero room for the usual excuses. No angle tricks, no bad lighting, just raw, undeniable proof that the WNBA has been letting a man dominate what's supposed to be a women's league. The mental gymnastics from Griner stands would be impressive if they weren't so pathetic. She's just built different. Yeah, different like every other dude in the YMCA locker room.
Women's rights to be a man.
Well, it seems like
Yo, she's a dude in the WNBA.
You can't do that.
Biological women's.
You're gonna have
National
to drop the W
basketball
out of the NBA and put, I don't know, A and all.
Just basketball.
And here's the truly disgusting part. This fraud robbed actual female athletes of opportunities, scholarships, and roster spots. While biological women trained and sacrificed, Griner waltzed in with all the natural advantages of male physiology and called it equality. The shirtless clip didn't just expose Griner, it exposed the entire rotten system that enabled this farce.
That not only caught my attention, it confused the hell out of me. And it made me wonder how Brittney Griner is still qualified to play pretend basketball in the WNBA.
The cognitive dissonance surrounding Brittney Griner's identity crisis would be hilarious if it wasn't so insulting to basic logic. Just take a look at this interview where Griner lashed out at the reporter for calling her mom instead of pops. This was taken after Griner's wife had a baby, and the reporter attempted to congratulate her for becoming a mom in good faith. Little did she know that Griner's a bit on the testosterone side. In fact, she's totally a dude, a dad.
You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together. About to be a pops.
What? Excuse me? Come again?
Now that the walls are closing in and the biological evidence is impossible to ignore, suddenly she's snapping at reporters to call her pops instead of mom. Give me a break. This isn't some brave journey of self-discovery. It's a desperate, last-minute pivot to save face as the truth comes crashing down.
I actually felt bad for this poor woman. Clearly, production failed to prep her for this interview. She obviously went into this uninformed because this unknown reporter, she immediately violated the woke commandments while interviewing Bobby G. She violated commandment number 3, thou shalt not misgender.
1 minute, she's the face of so-called women's basketball, demanding respect as a female athlete. Next, she's lashing out when someone dares to acknowledge the very identity she spent her entire career weaponizing for sympathy and clout. The hypocrisy is staggering. You don't get to spend a decade profiting off the WNBA's Women's League branding, then throw a tantrum when people refer to you as what you claim to be all along.
Yeah, it's more
confusing.
So what I'm getting at is that she identifies as a pop.
As a pops, still goes by she, or at least so we know. So
For
as far as they know, like as far as the rest of the reporters know, but does this change the WNBA status?
The irony is almost too perfect. While the WNBA was busy bending over backwards to prop up Griner as the ultimate woman baller, the Russians took one look at her and immediately clocked the obvious.
So if you guys don't remember who Brittney Griner was, she went overseas in Russia, got caught up. They basically were like, yo, they found weed on her, and then they had to trade her for an arms dealer.
That was crazy.
And
here's a...
That's right. When Griner went to Russia to play in the offseason, she was detained for drug possession and sent to prison. But that's not even the most shocking part of the story. When Griner landed in that Russian prison, they didn't bother with the WNBA's carefully constructed fantasy. They saw a biological man and treated her like one. No woke sensitivity training, no political correctness, just cold, hard reality.
It really wasn't that edible, so first 4 or 5 days, I really didn't eat, honestly, anything. Weird stuff. He opened up the mail tank for me to go into. And the other guard was like, nah. Like, what? Like, no, and closed the door and then opened up the other door for me to go in. I think he was being funny.
What did the WNBA do when footage surfaced of Griner being processed like any other male detainee? When reports confirmed that Russian guards directed her to male facilities without hesitation? They buried their heads in the sand and screamed transphobia because the truth was too embarrassing to confront.
Fight. Like, because I'm not going in that tank. I'm not going up in that tank.
And how many men were in that tank? If you
like 4 or 5 of them up in there. Yeah.
Let's be brutally honest. The Russians didn't mistreat Griner. They treated her exactly as she should have been treated, according to biological fact, not some ridiculous made-up gender ideology. While the WNBA was busy forcing fans to play along with the charade, Russia exposed the farce for what it was. The league spent years gaslighting the public, insisting Griner was just a very tall, deep-voiced woman, only for a foreign prison system to immediately see through the nonsense. No hormone tests, no committee meetings, just basic common sense.
Referring to yourself as pops means you want to be the father, which also means you want to be the male role model in the life of your child, which is great. That's all good,
But now, the WNBA is scrambling to memory hole Griner's entire existence because the jig is finally up. They let a man dominate a women's league, cash the checks, and now that the world sees the truth, they're hoping everyone will just forget. It's beyond pathetic. But wait, there's more. You see, the truth has a funny way of slipping out when the cameras are rolling. Just ask Brittney Griner, who in one unguarded interview moment blurted out the quiet part loud enough for the entire world to hear. I'm a grown man.
And everything just, I'm bigger, 6'8", a little bit stronger. I think everybody see I'm a little bit stronger. Grown man.
The clip went viral instantly, not just because it was shocking, but because it was so painfully obvious. Even Griner herself seemed to realize her Freudian slip a second too late, awkwardly laughing it off while the WNBA's PR team likely choked on their coffee halfway across the country. The irony is almost too rich. After years of the league, the media, and Griner herself insisting she was just a very tall woman with a deep voice, here she was, on tape, admitting the truth in the most casual way possible.
Beyond the fact that Brittney Griner sounds more masculine in her voice than almost any man that I know, short of James Earl Jones, she is the man. She is telling you that she is a man.
The embarrassment isn't just Griner's, it's the entire WNBA's. Because if their biggest, most dominant female athlete can't even keep the act straight in an interview, what does that say about the league's credibility? Either Griner was telling the truth in that moment, exposing the sham, or she's so detached from reality that she doesn't even remember what lies she's supposed to be sticking to. Neither option looks good.
When I heard Brittney Griner say this, I immediately thought of the WNBA. I was confused. I'm also confused when it comes to proper pronouns. Clearly, I was not the only one. This poor woman from CBS doing the interview, she was confused as well. Which pronouns are we supposed to use going forward when describing Brittney Griner? Better yet, which league should she be playing in? Should Brittney Griner be playing in the WNBA, or should Bob Griner be playing in the NBA?
It's almost poetic when you think about it. The same league that aggressively polices language, forces players into performative activism, and shames anyone who dares question their narrative, was suddenly paralyzed when their own star player accidentally told on herself. They spent years gaslighting fans into believing Griner was just another woman on the court, only for her to slip up and confirm what everyone with functioning eyes already knew. And now, they're stuck between admitting they've been lying this whole time or pretending millions of people didn't just hear what they heard.
Because there's been a lot of speculation in the past regarding the gender of Brittney Griner. In the past, some have questioned whether Brittney Griner was born male and transitioned to female. When these allegations came up in past years, Brittney Griner, she has clearly stated she is a woman.
And let's not forget the media's role in this circus. The same outlets that spent years writing glowing profiles about Griner's womanhood suddenly had amnesia when that clip surfaced. No tough questions, no follow-ups, just the same old spin hoping fans would move on before they had to confront the uncomfortable truth. They've been played. The WNBA let a man dominate a women's league, and now that the mask is slipping, they're scrambling to pretend it never happened.
But if you're sitting here identifying as a man, and you're telling us that you want your child to call you Pops, which is a man, how can you play in the WNBA? Is it a stupid question that I'm asking? Because this is the topic that's gone around the entire country with...
This isn't some brave journey of self-discovery. It's a desperate, last-minute pivot to save face as the truth comes crashing down. One minute, she's the face of so-called women's basketball, demanding respect as a female athlete. The next, she's lashing out when someone dares to acknowledge the very identity she spent her entire career weaponizing for sympathy and clout. The hypocrisy is staggering. You don't get to spend a decade profiting off the WNBA's Women's League branding, then throw a tantrum when people refer to you as what you claim to be all along.
On this, and I'm just completely confused. Because I don't understand how you can be in the WNBA and sit here and tell people that you're a man. You'd probably be out of the WNBA and you wouldn't be able to play, and there's a lot of things that come from complications of surgeries like that.
The WNBA's credibility is in shambles, and Griner's incoherent identity crisis is the nail in the coffin. You can't have it both ways. Either she's the woman she swore she was for her entire career, in which case the league needs to explain why they're scrubbing her existence over baseless allegations, or she's finally admitting the truth, which means every game, every record, every accolade was a lie. Pick a lane. The world is watching, and this pathetic backtracking only makes the deception more obvious.